Ladies and gentlemen, thank you for standing by. Welcome to the Product Management View webinar series. During the presentation, all participants will be in a listen-only mode. If you'd like to ask a question during the presentation, please use the chat feature located in the lower left corner of your screen. If you need to reach an operator at any time, please press the star followed by the 0. As a reminder, this conference is being recorded Tuesday, March 23rd, 2011. I would like now to turn the conference over to Val. Please go ahead.
Thank you, Sean. To those participating through ReadyTalk, Twitter, and those who will be reviewing this webinar in both the podcast or flash presentation later, hello. I'd like to welcome you to this new session of the Product Management View series. I'm Val Workman from Ryma Technology Solutions, one of the sponsors of this webinar. If you'd like to present in the webinar series or propose a topic, feel free to start a discussion in the Grandview or LinkedIn communities. The PMV is all about distributing the shared experiences of its members within our open product management community, and today the PMV is the world's largest free repository of product management dialogues. It's my pleasure to welcome back Scott Sehlhorst from Tyner Blaine, and he's going to be presenting today's webinar topic on the value of insights as intellectual property. Be careful there. It may not be what you think it is. Very interesting and great insights into a way of looking at our customer values and needs in terms of intellectual property. For those of you who will be using Twitter, you can follow and add additional conversation and questions using our Twitter hashtag #PMV during this webinar, and continue conversations about the webinar in the Grandview community afterwards. I'd encourage you to make comments and ask additional questions on Scott's posting as well. I'll also be collecting questions throughout the presentation and address them in the Q&A session at the end of this webinar. Please feel free to send your questions and comments to me in the chat section in the lower left corner of ReadyTalk, and we'll try to respond to them during the Q&A session. Scott, I'm going to go ahead and pass the control over to you now to kick off today's presentation. Scott?
Great. Hey, thanks, Val. Thank you, and thank you so much for inviting me to participate today, and thanks to everyone who's joined in on the session. As the title shows, Insights as Intellectual Property is sort of my, deviation on the theme of intellectual property and intellectual property rights. So as we get into it, as Val alluded, we'll sort of see that I'm going to focus on the stuff that I think is important from a product management perspective, and not the stuff that most people think of when you say intellectual property. So just a little bit of background about me. I started out reading my slide backwards, which is probably a no-no. I started out as an electromechanical design engineer right out of school, and did that for 8 years, and then moved into the software space and did programming, and from programming and consulting, discovered that really what was more compelling was finding the right problems to solve for my customers, versus coming up with solutions to the problems that had already been identified. And so I moved into the product management view of the world of focusing on customers and their problems. I've been doing that as Tyner Blaine as a consultant for coming up on 6 years now. It is for me a really rewarding thing to focus on the problems, and so we'll lead into the presentation now. The other thing that I would add is, don't hesitate to interject with questions, anything that you feel like works with the flow of the presentation. I'd much rather be engaging than have a parking lot with a series of questions at the end. I'm not really worried about time because I didn't load it up with 100 slides or anything today. So when you think about intellectual property, the first step you think about is patents and patent protection and trade secrets, and those pieces of information that you really want to clutch to your vest. And it's sort of the opposite of the information must be free view of the world. And as somebody who lived in that world for a while and then consciously got out of it, I feel like there's actually a lot more value in understanding your market and protecting the insights that you get about your market, rather than protecting the solutions that you create